So I've been planning to do vlogs on this channel and decided I would start it today because I had this totally insane thing happen to me this morning. So I of course do crafts, and I have another channel where I do that, and I live in South Carolina, and one of my wholesalers is in North Carolina, and so I decided I needed to go up and do some shopping in their store. And my 11-year-old Carson, if I'm going somewhere, he wants to go with me. He always wants to go. It's a long drive, but he wants to go. So we went yesterday, and we got there last night in time for him to swim a little bit. We went out to dinner at a Mexican restaurant, and then I was sick for hours and hours and hours and hours. It was not a fun night. And so when I got up this morning, I got Carson up and I said, hey, I want to get something to eat. He's 11, and it was like right almost next door to where we were, where the little place that you get your breakfast from. It's in the hotel. And so I said, I'll just run over there and get it, and I'll come right back. And he said, okay. So he went back to sleep. And I went over and got a little something to eat because, I wanted to put something back in my stomach. Came back to the room and spilled coffee all over my shirt as I was trying to get the door open. I could not get the door open. I put the little key in, it turned green, but nothing was happening. Like the mechanism just wouldn't catch. So the housekeeping was coming by, and I grabbed one of them and said, hey, will you help me? I can't get this door open. So they tried it. They tried pulling it up. They tried pulling it down. Nothing would work. So they said, well, let me call security. Not security, maintenance. They said, let's call maintenance. So I said, okay. So they called maintenance, and the maintenance guys came, and they started out. It was this older maintenance gentleman, and he was not a young chicken. he tried opening the door, same thing. Couldn't get it open. And, he said, well, the mechanism isn't catching, and so he said he was going to do some kind of reprogramming thing, and he went off. So at this point, it's been about close to 30 minutes. And Carson is in the room sleeping, and I'm outside the room. So the guy comes back with some kind of little machine, and he hooks it up to the door and reprograms the door and tries the key again. He says, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try it. So he tries it. Nothing. Still won't work. He says, well, that's not going to work, so I'm going to go get a drill. So he goes. He leaves, comes back, and now there's two maintenance guys. They bring a chair for the first maintenance guy, the older guy. So it's now been about 45 minutes. I'm sitting outside in the hallway, waiting for them to try to get the door open. They drilled about 4 holes in the little plate to try to get the thing off. That was about 30 minutes of them trying to drill it. The younger maintenance guy kept trying to help the older maintenance guy, saying, hey, do you want me to do this? I know you're having difficulty with this. And the older maintenance guy finally let him have it, and the guy was able to, because he really was struggling trying to get through I guess they were trying to bore out the little places that it was attached to the door. So they finally got the plate off. It's now been about an hour and a half. A couple of the people came by from housekeeping to check on me. Just asked me if I was okay. And, I was pretty calm at this point. Carson was calm on the other side. I had talked to him about around 30 or 45 minutes. We had tried to get him to open the door. He couldn't open it from the inside. So the younger maintenance guy started to try to pry the door open. And the older maintenance guy said, no, don't do that, because if you break the door, it takes 9 weeks to get a new door. Well, it's been an hour and a half at this point, and I'm thinking, my 11-year-old son is on the other side of that door, and I don't really care if it takes you 9 weeks to order a new door. I need to get to my child. And down the hall is the supervisor of the housekeeping ladies, and I know that because she kept coming by and telling them to get to work and stop asking me if I was okay. And this is a nice hotel, and she's down there telling them that apparently they've had trouble with this door before. Well, by this time I'm pretty upset. Mama Bear has come out, and I'm pretty hopping mad. So I said, okay, this is not okay. It's now been about an hour and 35 minutes, and, you know, you're not getting anywhere. You're not getting the door open. Now you tell me that you're not going to pry the door open because you're somehow worried that you're not going to be able to replace the door. And, you know, I don't care if you can replace the door. My child is in there, and I need to get to my child. So I said, I want to see the manager. Well, about 10 minutes later, nothing's happening. So I go down to the lobby and find the manager myself and said, you know, hey, it's been an hour and 45 minutes. My child is in there. Your maintenance guys don't know how to get in. Now they're telling me that they won't pry the door open because you're too worried about being able to rent the room out. And I don't really care if you're going to rent the room out. You know, I need to get to my child. So he says, oh my gosh, nobody told me this was happening, and, you know, we're going to call the fire department. So they finally call the fire department. About 15 minutes later, the fire department comes. They've said to me, well, we're probably going to break open the window, or they said they were going to take the window out and get him out. So we knocked on the window so that we could tell my son Carson that they were probably going to either break the window or take it out so we could get him out of the room, because I didn't want him anywhere near that window if they decided to do that. So we, the firemen get there, and they come and they say, well, you know, we don't want to break open the window. We want to see if we can pry the door open. And at this point I'm thinking, really? Because I was okay with you prying the door open 30 minutes ago when I was feeling panicked in the hallway because I can't get to my child. So they go inside, 3 big burly firemen, and they had a huge crowbar, and they had a big axe, and they pried the door open. So about 15 minutes after that, it's now been 2 hours and 15 minutes, they finally get the door open. The fireman opens the door and says, hey buddy, and then they're standing in the doorway, and I'm still in the hallway, and I finally just had to say, please move so I can get to my child. And they just were totally clueless that this whole thing was about me getting my child out of this room. So I get in, and I get to hug my child finally after about 2 hours and 15 minutes. At no point did anyone offer to give me a chair, anything to drink. You know, there was one very nice housekeeping lady that kept coming by and asking me if I was okay. But no one even apologized to me until the very end. It was a pretty terrible experience, but I can say that the fire department was awesome, and they told the maintenance guys, which I thought was pretty sad, they told them how to get the lock open the next time this happens. And they told them that if they had drilled out where the handle is on the door, that it would have opened. So 2 hours of waiting, and it probably would have taken about 15 minutes to actually get in the room, which I was kind of surprised about and a little shocked that after all of that, the maintenance guys had no idea how to get into the room really at all. But anyways, so I was able to get my child. we gathered all of our stuff up, and we went to our car, and we went to my wholesaler to get what we needed, and then we came home. But the hotel never offered to cover our room, nothing. So I can tell you that I probably will never stay at a Holiday Inn again. I mean, I really was shocked at how cavalier they kind of were about the whole thing. And I'm a mom, and of course I'm panicking. I'm feeling very panicked because nobody seems to be able to figure out how to get in to get my child. And you know, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's panicked on the other side. Thank God he wasn't. He was fine. He was totally calm. I was the one who was panicking. But I'm glad to say everything turned out fine. And we drove home. It's about a 4-hour drive, so it was a long drive. But he's an awesome trooper. He is a great, incredible kid. And so we got home, and we're settled in, and everything is fine. But it was a huge adventure. Can't say that anything like that's ever happened to me before. But if you're ever stuck in a hotel and they can't get in your room, you can tell them, because now I know if they will drill through where the handle is, the door will pop open. Just something that you learned today. Learn something new every day, right? So that was my learning of the day. Anyways, I am thankful that they were finally able to call the fire department. They didn't have to break the window and drag my child through. They were able to break the door open. Even as we were leaving, I could hear the manager talking about they weren't sure if they were going to be able to rent that room or not. I kind of hate to think that anybody would have to deal with what we dealt with. So I really hope that they will not rent that room until they get the door really fixed correctly this time. So anyways, it was an adventure. So hopefully my next vlog won't be quite an adventure. It'll just be like normal everyday things, because this was really unusual. Anyways, I hope you have a blessed evening and that you will come and watch more things. I'm going to have a lot of fun stuff on this channel. So y'all have a wonderful night. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.